Okay, here's your official clap. So this is a special Zoom we put on the schedule for you guys because especially at the last CF class I was saying in NUSA, a lot of people were asking about media because Justine McKell, who's on with us today, is our amazing PR extraordinaire for Access Consciousness, and then works with Gary and Dane and Simone and Brendan and a lot of the specialties. And so at the CF trainings, if you're not a CF, we always do this big presentation about all of the media placements we've gotten over the year and what that creates. So a lot of facilitators asked a lot of questions about, well, what do I say if I actually get on a TV spot or in the newspaper or a radio interview? And how do you get those? So Justine's on here to answer your questions and to kind of give you guys a little overview of that. So please do unmute and ask your questions. And thank you, Justine, for being on.
No worries. That's so funny. I thought it was a meeting about Simone going to LA and what can we create, but I'm ready to go for any questions. I thought Simone was coming to LA, so I was like, all right, let's brainstorm. All right.
No, you have. So just so you know, there's not only CFs on this call, but any sort of facilitator.
Okay.
Just so that's in your awareness of who we invited to the call. Cool.
I'm putting on a bit of makeup there, everyone.
So do you want to give like a little just kind of overview of either maybe how to kind of investigate leads and things in there where they live, or what to say if they get on? I don't know what you guys would like to talk about first, you guys who are on.
Yeah, please feel free to jump in. Dane has been on KTLA quite a number of times actually, and they've requested 2 more spots over Christmas and New Year's, but he's in demand and so busy we couldn't even get him back there. But firstly, there is a lot of media already from LA that you could use in your business. Those TV spots, I find this reality, or if you're trying to get clients, are really, they're good ones to send them. It kind of explains, well, it doesn't explain, but it adds that credibility. And then in terms of you guys finding media, actually, let me just go back a bit. Have any of you been in the media before? Or have any of you approached media?
Yes, I have, for the book. Yeah. I don't know if you want a story about that.
Yeah, no, I'd love to know what kind of media yeah.
Well, what I ended up doing is I actually hired a team to get me out there, and I ended up doing over 20 blogs, 2 TV spots. And what I found was, which was very exciting for me, was that I actually am the tools because anytime anything would come up, I didn't really have to think about it. I just went there, And the thing is the more comfortable you are with being yourself and using these amazing tools of access, the easier it is for you to be yourself in the world and presenting access,
Yeah. What TV shows did you?
Well, they were Nashville shows, so they were all local. But I did one of the morning shows and one of the afternoon shows. It was just 2 of the TV shows. And they didn't have me on for very long, One was like a 3-minute conversation, another one was a 10-minute conversation. But they were thrilled with these tools. They'd never heard of Access. And so they actually, the second one, Live in Nashville, they put a link up at the end, and they reached out to me later and said that there were so many people that were very curious that they shared more information on their website.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and excuse me for 1 second. I just want to remind you guys that we do have a lot of translation going on today, and they're asking if you can please slow down a little bit so they can keep up with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should add to that. I would invite people that, when you're doing these conversations to be yourself and, know. It's hard. It's like I'm trying to describe it, but I can't remember exactly how things go. They just ask a question and it was a flowing kind of thing. And it was amazing, but it did expose a lot. My book, it was a bestseller just in pre-sales with media team. So I believe in having a media team behind you to get your foot in the door. I would highly recommend it. And if you're doing any of the hubs, I would highly recommend doing that top tier. I plan on doing that with Right Voice. I'm very excited about being Right Voice for You facilitator. for reals. So that's one of the classes I'm doing, is an intro in Brazil, and then I'm doing a 10 keys intro based on the book, because it's the tools in there. So this is like an Access 101 book that I really wanted to contribute back to Access. And Dane and Gary, for those that were, you know, if they ask you, what is this Access shit, then this is like the perfect 101 beginner's book. So anyway.
Yeah. And look, I think the media is just a great way to be able to get in front of more people. As you know, like TV might have a few 100,000 people watching. If you feature in some online articles, you know, you could have anywhere from a few 100,000 to a few million if you get on a place like Forbes. So it's just more eyeballs getting to find out more about you and your business or your book. So yeah, it's definitely something that everyone can explore. You know, you don't have to have a big media team behind you. Actually, I did a Kajabi course about how to do your own PR. We can send the link afterwards if you're interested. It's mainly, I mean, there's so much to cover here. I can talk about how to approach media, how to approach your local media. What do you say? What do you do? You know, when do you need PR? But I think ultimately, like, you're all your own, you know, promotion PR machines. Like every time you leave the house, you might speak to someone and give them a little spiel about what your business is about. Social media now, you can get in front of so many hundreds of thousands of people. And another avenue we're going down with some of the Access books and the baby, for example, the Baby Unicorn and the Baby Dragon books, is we're using influencers on Instagram and Facebook. So an influencer is someone that has a influence on social media. So it could be mummy bloggers or people with over 5,000 followers. And a lot of products and companies go to these people and either pay them or some, if the influencer really believes in the product, they don't ask for money, but this is how they make a living, and they'll do about the book with their children. Or if it's clothing, I know this great mummy blogger, she's got over 100,000 followers now, but a lot of the clothes company approach her with their products, and she takes photos of the children in the products, and then they just say, brought to you by Target or brought to you by Barnes & Noble or whoever the clothing company is. So there is a really big power in media, social media, to get your business out there. And it's a way of getting more eyeballs, more audience, and also that credibility. People, even myself, I know that I tend to buy off influencers in the middle of the night when I'm breastfeeding. I'm like, oh, that looks great. I'll just buy that because someone's recommended it. I think I used this story before, but even like when I was looking to have my birth and looking at all these different doulas, section, blah, blah, blah. I purchased this course off someone who had been featured in Cosmopolitan magazine. So it's just the name sometimes that attracts you. Or when I was a producer on the Today Show, I would also look at I'd go onto someone's website and I'd make sure that they had been on media before, because I knew it wasn't too big of a gamble, and they were a safe bet to come on the Today Show to have a chat. So I think, yeah, credibility, it gets you in front of a bigger audience. And then lastly, what I was going to say is, if you don't have your own media, how can you use the media that we already have available through Dane, through Gary, through Simone and Brendan? We're just getting incredible media at the moment for the Relationship Done Different book. They've been featured on like Fox News, 2 Australian national TV shows just before Christmas. What I did for them was I found a day of the year that was the most common for breakups. So December 11th was dump day. And then I went in on that angle to the media and I said, did you know, like, coming up is dump day? I've got 2 experts that can talk about, breaking up like consciously, and can comment on this. And then also, by the way, they've got a new book out. So media really, really loved that. And we ended up getting a lot of bigger, it's called high tiered media. So like the Cosmopolitans or the Maxims or the really well-known magazines and TV shows. Yeah, so that is, I feel like I'm just talking, so please feel free if anyone wants to like jump in or has a question.
I know there's a Turkish question in the chat, if the translator wants to read that one. Or it's good.
Oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel and I have 3,000 subscribers.
Yeah, let me read it first.
Okay.
Oh, can't see the chat. Okay. Well, this is Recep Özer from Turkey. He's a BF. In about 2 years, he has given bars classes to 1,500 people. He has a YouTube channel and he has 30,000 subscriptions in his channel. And today he is in Germany, in Berlin. He's giving a facelift class. In his channel, Dr. Dane here, he's sharing some tools from the Being You Changing the World book from Dr. Dane here, some tools from the book, and people are watching it a lot. For example, Who Does This Belong To tool, approximately 100,000 people watch this video in his channel, in his YouTube channel. And what else is possible to this tool? 200,000 people watch this video. So about the clearing statement, he says that he's not sharing the clearing statement. And other than that, he says he's sharing the main tools and questions. Is there a problem if I share these tools in these videos from the book, he's asking?
No, that's amazing. Like I would actually call him an influencer if he's got
Bu
that.
aslında muhteşem.
Sorry?
Go ahead. She was translating with the mute off for a second.
Oh, right. Okay. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think where it gets a bit clunky is sharing the clearing statement. I tend to leave that out just because it requires a lot of explaining and it can lose people. I have had that happen in an interview before. So I think in an interview, you just really want to spark their attention because normally it's shorter. I mean, podcasts, you can do an hour interviews, but normally you've got shorter interviews. So you don't want to get bogged down in a lot of the detail. You want to just spark their curiosity. So then they go to your website or to us. But I mean, that's incredible if you've already got 30,000 subscribers and you've taught, 1,500 people. Like I would say people would be emailing you to get on your show, and you definitely are an influencer. And maybe some of the hub facilitators want to be on your show as well if you've got a really great database like that. And I'd just say, yeah, the basic tools are great. If you watch, there's a guy called Gary V on Instagram. He does a lot of social media. He just hooks people in with two really simple tools. Talks a lot about like the art of not giving a fuck, or he talks a lot about, getting out of judgments. I find a lot of the access tools are creeping in, but just one clear message seems to, people can hear that because, we're so time poor. We've got our phones, we're scrolling through feeds. Like I find even myself, I can't read a long post just because I'm so, either time poor, I've got juggling, or we're in a world of ADD overload. So I would say, one or two tools in the videos is great. And
Hey, Justine, I think it's your internet going out. You might want to turn your video off.
Yeah,
It's Justine's, right?
Yeah, it is Justine.
Okay.
And we didn't hear you after you said the world of ADD overload and doing a couple of questions or tools, and then we lost you.
Maybe turn your video off, Justine. I bet it'll be better because you're kind of like every once in a while it'll blip a bit.
okay, cool. Yeah, let me just. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was just saying that I think what he is doing is amazing, and just using one or two tools and sharing those and not overcomplicating it, because we're just so busy on overload. I mean, watch how you watch or consume media yourself, or flick through social media. What gets your attention? Like, what stops you in your tracks? I know this guy I talk about called Gary Vee, and I can put the link in there. He's just really simple, really direct, no sugarcoating, no BS bullshit. And I find that, people really watch his stuff. So one or two tools is great. And what you're doing is amazing to get the tools of access out there.
And what is the name of this fellow that you're talking about?
His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. Let me just pick his Gary V. I'm just trying to drop the link in here. It's Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a best-selling author that wrote a book called Jab, Jab, Hook, and it's basically how you use social media, like jab, jab, give them content, and then hook them in with a product. So there's a little bit of a formula to him, and he's just so, I love his stuff because it's just really no sugarcoating, straight down the line. And he talks about how he built his business from social media and Instagram. He's just one you could follow. There's so many other people. But yeah, I don't know how I got on. I got onto him because I was just saying, he gives one or two tools away. And it's funny, he's using a lot of the access consciousness tools about no judgment now. So is Tony Robbins. I've noticed that on his feed, he's putting 90% of your thoughts in your head aren't yours. And I'm like, that's an access tool. So it's popping into a lot of people's feeds. Another guy called Joel Brown, yesterday I was like looking at him. I was doing a media reach out for Relationship Done Different, and he's talking about, similar tools in relationships that we talk about a lot, like the no judgment and creating your relationship. So yes, and don't forget the power of access, because we have about 1 million people coming to the Access Consciousness website every month as well. So we also are a valuable product. I think, Dane's had over 1 million hits on all his social media and YouTube channels. So how could you use that to your advantage when you're getting your business out there? Can you use, some of the TV clips? Can you use some of the numbers? Like, I mean, whenever Emily reaches out to me about all the people that have taken a bars class now, it's amazing. And that's what I use. I go out to the media with numbers and statistics because they love that. Does anyone have any questions about how to approach the media?
Justine, it's Julia.
Yeah.
Hey.
Julia.
Hey. This has been super helpful, so thank you. And I'm wondering, do you know anything about YouTube tagging? Like, I know that's not maybe I know that's not your area of specialty, but do you see it like that is an important thing, or not really?
It's not really my specialty, but yes, definitely tag as much as you can so people can find you. And, Melanie may be someone that could talk more to the YouTube stuff, but I mean, I would say tag away as much as you can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I just was really overwhelmed by the concept of tagging. So I was like, do I have to learn this? So I'll learn.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? It's like a beast, social media, like to try and keep up with like algorithms and all of that. But I think the tagging is not it's not too tricky. You could just like tag your name, tag access, tag personal development. Like I think that's the very basic of it. Like I'm sure there's a bit more of a strategy to it.
Right.
But anything that you can do to tag or get stuff out there in a bigger way, so when people Google, they can find you, I definitely recommend.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for all of this info. It's just really cool to hear.
Oh, good. I hope I'm not just it's like a verbal vomit.
No,
I just have so much information.
I know it's just so natural to you, but it's like so fascinating
Oh,
to me, and I'm sure everybody else. It's awesome.
Oh, good. Yeah. And does anyone have any questions about if they want to approach their local media, how to
Hi,
do
you.
it? Yes.
Crystal here. Hi. So I got you on your agency publishing for me and got like amazing articles like 2 years ago. And from there, I started using those to create more with. So I got published in the Grazia in the Netherlands and another interview on a music platform, which was really amazing. I also been on Dutch TV, but now I started working with a team. And I asked like one of the girls if she could, like contact the media, contact magazines. I want to have Bars Babes, my company brand, is like I want to put them out on every festival for the upcoming season. So so I'm just like, what questions do you like ask your team, or like what's the appropriate way to, I don't know, what do you have for me?
Oh, there's so much. So your business is Bars Babes. So you go into festivals and run bars. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
So yeah, awesome. So I think that there's kind of two different things there. Like I'd call that like activations, where you go in and you can get media around that. You could write up a press release, you could contact the local media and just let them know that you're going to be there. Or in a big festival, they'll have their own PR agency as well that you could approach and ask to be included in their release. And they would most likely say yes, because it's something different. And I know when I'm writing media releases, I'm always trying to find different things. So yes, there's music, but hey, by the way, there's also going to be Bars Babes. Like who doesn't? I want to know more about that. What is a Bars Babe? Yeah. So, and then I think in terms of, I'm so glad to hear that you're using the PR to get more PR, because that's really what it's about. So once you've got one article and you've been featured in one outlet, that's kind of the hardest one to get going, the first one. And then once you've got the first one, then you get springboard to the next and to the next and to the next. And as I said before, when I was a producer, I just want to make sure if I'm getting someone on the show that they have been featured. And for me, if I know they've been in the media, I go, oh yeah, you're a safe bet, you're credible. Mum, the baby's awake. Mum, sorry, I'm just gonna ask my mum if she can go down and resettle Bobby. 1 second.
Cool. And is there like because I did ask, and I heard from Emily it's on its way. There's the fact sheet is coming in Dutch, which would be amazing. Is there like, because now like the festival season, like there are so many music festivals, but yoga festivals. So we were at Wanderlust, and I'm also looking into like how can I get people to my stand, right? So for me, I'm just like, it's kind of funny. I thought we have like a new phrase for Bars Babes, which is consciousness is the new sexy. And so we started playing with that. And then I was like, it would be really funny to, at a music festival, an example, have condoms, like hand out condoms to people, and then with a Bars Babe logo on it. And then people will be like, oh my God, where did you get that from? And then lure people into your stand, basically, and then have some babes running bars, and then people go like, oh, what's this? And then, oh, you should try it out. So
well, it's kind of cool. You're making consciousness cool. Like we just had Dane on this podcast called the Consciousness Podcast. He was a young kid, but he's trying to make it cool for the millennials and the younger people. And it's growing. Like if you look at Russell Brand's podcast all about consciousness, like you could even see what celebrities are at that festival and maybe even approaching them, or having a few of Dane's book ready to hand out. Like we're always happy to gift books for media. So yeah, you could find out who's there. Have a few books to give everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think anything different. And then in terms of how you would, like, yes, people will see you visually, and then I would also do a media release or something else on top of it, as well as social media. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have Manuk, who's also on the chat right now. she's she's doing all the festivals, and then I have Freke, and she's gonna start connecting to magazines here in the Netherlands. So there's a lot of like yoga is very, very popular. Like everyone is into yoga, and I want to make bars, like as popular as yoga. Like everyone goes to yoga, and it's like everyone, is gonna do bars. Oh, what are you gonna do? I'm just gonna get my bars on. Like so I want to make make it something like that.
I mean, we could look at one thing we've been doing in different cities. We've done it in India, LA, New York, is we've been doing bars media days. So we'll invite some of the top media from magazines and anyone that we think like maybe a yoga magazine or anyone we think is aligned that may be interested in bars, and doing a day and running their bars. And usually they'll post about it. They'll do some Insta stories about it, and they'll blog about it and write about it. So that could be potentially something that we do in the Netherlands as well. Yeah. So there's a whole plethora of things we could do. Also, when you're approaching the media, it's really good. Like I can help with any pictures. It's good to put those numbers about how many people have had their bars run, making sure that the study's in there, because this reality like to have a little bit of evidence or...
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at like some sort of media kit, or making a media kit to send out to, like when we send an email like, hey, here's like this is blah, blah, blah. And, what would it be like if you would write an article about it or get featured or whatever. And then here's are some facts. I think that would be...
Yeah, well, we have a media kit. Is that something we can share with everyone? Yes. That's the same.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there specific numbers for the Netherlands, or not? That actually doesn't really matter. But...
Well, I'm sure we could break that down. I'm not sure if it's not a lot, then I wouldn't use that. Excuse me. I'd use it more on a global scale.
Yeah.
Bigger numbers are more impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how many people would, there are in the Netherlands. Is that where you are currently?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Considering Australia, though, I was there for 6 weeks. I miss it. Yeah.
But a lot of it has been burning lately. So
yeah, true.
But yeah, no, it's beautiful. But that could be something, after this call that we look into. We're always open to different, like, I guess they're called these experiential events. So bars in the park, bars at festivals is great, especially having babes do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and bars at the beach is also, I really want to go, like bars, babes at the beach. That could be fun.
Yeah, and you could talk to Emily and I like later down the track. And if you are doing anything like this, like please let us know so we can either help you amplify it, like on social media with the Access team, or get it out to some of your local media. Because you just got to remember, local media especially is looking for news all the time. They're looking for different things, and this is something different.
Cool. Awesome. Yay. Exciting.
Yay.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's so cool, Crystal. Yeah. I'm so glad that the media wasn't, you're using it to your advantage. That's so cool to hear.
It's really incredible because like also like you got me some like articles in the Collective Hub in Australia and like Miss Magazine in New York for the Right Voice for You back then, and and it was about sexual abuse and how it changed my life and having your voice in the sexual abuse. And so that got like a lot of, it was very interesting because I got to an article in the Grazia, and it's an international magazine, but I got it published in the Netherlands. But then they used my words, but they twisted it a little bit too much to this reality. And I was like, this is not my story. It's like, if it's going to be posted out like this, I'm sorry, I cannot, like agree to this. So can we change some of the words? And then I basically rewrote the whole thing. She wasn't too happy, but they asked for a different point of view on sexual abuse, and then they made it too much of this reality again, where it looked like I was functioning from like anger and resentment. I was like, those are things I never felt about sexual abuse. So we changed the whole words, but it's really you gotta be a little bit attentive of like how, or at least it was my thing that sexual abuse where they twist your words a little bit too much and you're like, wasn't really what I
Well,
said or
yeah,
mentioned.
you've got to remember media loves sensational, and
Yeah.
that's what sells a headline, especially when we're dealing with the Daily Mail website. That's when they will try and sensationalize it as much as possible, because what they want is, it's called clickbait. They want the heading so people click through to the articles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could understand that. Yeah, that may happen. And I mean, if you do get a media interview, just some people get really excited and they kind of verbal diarrhea their whole life story. But just remember, you're speaking to a journalist, so they usually record it. And even if you think a journalist is, you know, oh, wow, she's really nice, remember they are looking for an angle.
Yeah.
So if there's something that you don't want to be said, then I'd probably just hold it back a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I was telling a lot, but then I was like, okay, but this is not, this is not, you asked for a different point of view. I was like, haha, here you have a different point of view. But yeah.
You've got some of it changed. Sometimes, I mean, I always ask the question, can we have a read of the article before it goes to print?
Yeah.
Some people say yes. A lot of the time that they don't say yes, but it's worth asking the question.
Yeah.
I think I have a guideline media document I put together about like what to do if you're if someone approaches you for an interview, and yeah, for TV, for radio, for podcasts. Also, because at some point we were getting some media contact us in France about the bars. They wanted to, we knew that we were going to take a negative spin on it. So one of the questions I had as well is like, are you actually the right person for the interview? Or is, you know, is it better to have someone else? Which I don't think is relevant to this call.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one of those shows, those documentary shows where they wanted to go undercover and get their bars run, and we knew it was going negative. So we just created a document if you were approached by that kind of media.
Yeah.
But generally, look, lifestyle media is looking for lifestyle content. You know, topics like a good time to go out to media is like World Happiness Day. Yeah, is there any tips around happiness? Like one could include getting your bars run. We always go out with Dane's story on World Suicide Prevention Day because that was, you know, it was a very personal story to him. The other angles that media seem to love with Simone, getting out of $187,000 in debt and becoming a multimillionaire. Is there something that you've done, like, I didn't go to university, but I've been so successful? Like, it's looking at your story, your background. Is there anything unique or different you've experienced that media would like? I mean, even, what was the guy from Brazil before? Even if you're about to run someone's bars for the 2000th time, you could go out to media with an angle like that because they love numbers. So yeah, when you're approaching media, they just want to see a statistic, something different, your personal story. I was poor, I was rich, I was unhappy, I was happy. Yeah, this is the 3,000th person that's taken a class. Yeah. So looking at those different angles that will spark attention.
Hi guys, sorry, I have a few questions in the Portuguese chat. We talked about having bars on festivals and all the music. They're asking if it's not in a way of bars. I'm not quite sure if this is a question for you, Justine.
Yeah.
But is it a problem to have bars in festivals and having the music? Does it mess with bars?
Oh, M might be better to answer this one.
I would definitely run bars. Even like music festivals are awesome to run bars at. Yes, there's music playing, and you know they're still going to get the experience of the bars. You can always ask questions. You know, they'll still get. Music turns off some implants, and they're still going to experience the bars. It's worth that exposure because it's such a cool venue. You know, we're looking even at, there's a big music festival in the US, South by Southwest, and we're looking at doing a big bars booth there that's coming up here and stuff in the States. So it's a great opportunity, definitely.
I also see there's a question here by Grant saying, do you have any suggestions for a new practitioner or facilitator who may not be in a position to be in the media themselves? Do you mean use an agency, or what did you mean, Grant? I'm just right.
So it just popped that there might be someone here that says, you know, using a media agency or doing else when I just started is a big deal. And so it's like, where could they start if they were interested? And it's like, okay, well, how can me and my little bars practice capitalize on any media that's there? And it's like, would you suggest editorials, or would you actually suggest jump in with a media agency, or would you suggest?
No, I'd say, you don't, excuse me, you don't need a media agency, I don't think. Like, you've got us to help support you. So I'd let us know about it and what we can do. If it's your local area, I'd go really local to your local newspaper, and either call some of the journalists and ask them. You have to find the right person. So you wouldn't go to a business journalist or a finance journalist. You'd go to someone that writes lifestyle content. And I'd just pick up the phone and call them and ask them if they want to experience it. And we have a lot of press material on file that you could use. What is the bars? Here's a short study. And so, yeah, so you could follow up that phone call and just say, look, I'm going to send you some information about it and just get back to me, because I find that a lot of them need to experience it to be able to write about it. And a lot of them as well would like to see either other media on it, or so we've got all that on file as well. But yeah, unless you're going to do, like, maybe you've got a new book coming out, or you've got a huge event, that's probably when I'd engage a bigger media team or agency. But I think for something like a local practitioner, you could even extrapolate and find out, like, did bars save your life? Like, was it a similar story? Like, I know Julia's partner, Anthony's got a great story about the bars. And same with Dane and same with Brendan. So it's getting that, like, your personal story, how it's helped you. And then I'd let the journalist experience it. And then you could send the media kit we have with all the studies as well.
So it sounds like you're suggesting they actually talk to people.
Yes.
Perfect.
The good old fashioned. Even I forget to do that sometimes because I'm so email heavy. Like, I probably send about 100 emails a day, like, between me and the team. We're always trying to pitch to different type of people. But look, you can always ask the journalist, like, hey, is it a good time to speak to you right now? I don't know if you're on deadline, because there's nothing worse when they are on deadline. They're a little cranky. So just asking that question, and also thanking them if you have an interview. Like, we forget just to say thank you so much. Like, and, you know, we're so grateful. Not many people get thanks or, you know, in this industry. They're just, like, having to turn around so many stories in one day. But yeah, good old fashioned talking, always the best.
Thank you for that.
Pleasure. Anyone else? Is there anything anyone else wants to know about media?
And just so you guys know, Justine's going to have to go in about 5 or 10 minutes, a little early. So if you have any more questions, ask them now.
I'm going to ask something, but I don't know if it's in the content or not. I noticed some of the BFs or they're using the clearing statement on social media like Instagram and Facebook. And I know there is guidance, but because this is the call is translated, can we give some clarity on some of the content is not in Arabic?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't. My internet cut out a little bit. Then, what was the question?
Can you assist us here? The guidance of the media guidance is not in all languages, and some of the BFs they're wondering about using the clearing statement when they go to TV or on the social medias, and where's the guidance here, where to go. It was helpful. It's like when you said, it's great when you said just use the tools. And
Yes.
What you can say here more.
Well, I mean, firstly, I'm sure we can get it translated. That's no problem. But I think the reason, I probably just wouldn't use the clearing statement or ask the question, does it create, like, before you do the interview, because I know it scared a few people off and they've not run a really big interview before. So I think just, what tool do you want to use? Just asking, is this going to create in this interview right now? The basic tools, like I find the asking the questions. We had a lady in New York that got her bars run, and the interviewer was very like, this is positive, this is negative. She tried to write a very balanced interview. But the one question that I find, even if anyone's done one class or one bars classes, they love the like asking questions. How does it get better than this? What else is possible? They seem to remember that about access, which is great. So I think it's more, be in your knowing with the type of media outlet and tap into that audience that you're speaking to in that type of outlet. Like if it's a Forbes business, we would tend to definitely leave out the clearing statement. I mean, sometimes, and I use the more practical tips like starting a 10% account. They seem to be able to, I just do it outlet by outlet. So some I would use, some I might not use. 99% of your thoughts don't belong to you because I know that they won't be able to really comprehend that, but others I would. So it depends on what outlet you're approaching. Is that kind of the answer? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. I was.
Bravo.
Thank you. We're grateful to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is your area, but I was looking at starting to run bars of like emergency service workers in my local area. And I reached out to the HR department of the police station, and she got back to me. And then I ran a couple of police officers' bars, and I just not sure like where to go next with it.
Well, I would firstly ask, I mean, Em probably going to jump in, but I'd probably ask if you could take their photo whilst you're doing it and see if they're okay with that. Some people may be, some people may not. Like I always ask first. And then I'd ask, is it possible to use this on social media? I mean, I try and take photos with everything and just go, how can I get this out there more? Because then you could even put that on your website. That would be, I'd love to go to your website and go, oh my gosh, you ran the policemen's bars. That's so awesome. Like I'm going to book right now with you. And so once you have those photos, if they say yes, then how can you get it out there more? And how can you go back there again? And then that could be possibly something used down the track in your own bio, on your website or in a press release. Yeah.
And I was just going to add, you might want to contact Tracy Howlett, and you can PM me for her. I can connect you through Facebook. She's in the UK, and she's been doing a whole huge thing with, she's a police officer, but doing a huge thing there and research with Dr. Terry on PTSD and with police officers. They, like that branch has chosen not to have any of that public right now. There's been other people, Heather Smith is another one in the US, and she's working with Melanie Clampett, and they're running a lot of first responders bars out and doing all the fires and stuff in California. So they're doing a lot with that. So I would reach out to them to see what has worked. Everyone's different, because you might, if it's a police station, they might want to be more private. Others might want to incorporate it into all of their staff. And what I've heard from a lot of those people, a lot of their staff, if you are a police officer, first responder, they're embarrassed to say they have a like PTSD or a problem, so they like to be more private. But they often, whoever, the captain or whoever might have a way to have people come in and get sessions without having everyone else know and things like that. But they would be great people to ask questions to of how to go about that and like what questions to ask and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. There's a lot of thank yous, Justine, in the chat.
Oh, good. I hope it's been good. And yeah, if you have any questions or you want to approach the media, like feel free to ping me. I often look over some people's articles or pictures if they reach out to me, or you can just email media@accessconsciousness.com. That goes to me.
Cool. And we'll put that email, it's in the chat. We can put it again in the follow-up, and also some of the like names and links she was talking about. And like Justine said, she has an awesome little like Kajabi course or video course about doing your own PR. It's awesome. It's DIY PR, and you can kind of walk yourself through it. The link is up in the chat too, but we'll put it in the replay as well. And you guys can always reach out to us too at bars@accessconsciousness.com as well if you have questions about other events and things like that, or post in the facilitator groups too, because sometimes someone says, oh, I'm doing that too, or they can help as well.
And if you do get media, or if you are approached for an interview and you have any questions, let us know. But also so we can share your article with everyone. We love seeing Access in the media. I've got my Google Alert set up, and I've got a few places I monitor the media, but I do miss some things. So I love to see when anyone's like featured online, on podcasts, like TV, whatever it is, it all contributes and gets Access out to a bigger audience.
Do you have recommendations of like hashtags and stuff for the media?
I guess it depends. Like if you're doing bars, yeah, there's in this media kit, it's got some hashtags. I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
Yeah, if it's bars, I'd always use just hashtag access bars, because that's the one that everyone uses most. And you could create your own one. Like if you have your own business you want to create something with, but if you're going for like getting access in the world, I'd use that one. And then, you know, your info and stuff like that. But that's a great one to always use. And post it on Global Bars Day too with something fun.
Yes.
We're going to see if we can get it trending on that day. Cool.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Justine, so much for coming on.
Thank you. I'll just run down and deal with the crying bubby.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everybody.
Justine.
Everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.